You ever volunteer for something simple and end up uncovering something you were never supposed to see? Jason just wanted to be a good dad. So when the school asked for help setting up folding chairs for a PTA movie night, he said yes. He was already off that day. Nora had been begging him to be more involved, whatever that meant to a fourth grader. He didn't plan to stay late, didn't plan to wander down the wrong hallway looking for a bathroom, didn't plan to find the boiler room door open, didn't plan to hear the knock, or see the light flicker under the floorboards. Quick question, where are you watching from? Drop your city in the comments. And hey, if this story makes you sit forward, hold your breath, or whisper, "No way, that's Jason Statham," hit that subscribe button. Watch till the end, because what happens next might change how you see quiet buildings forever. Jason stepped off the final stair and found a wall that looked fake. Too clean, no pipes, no rust, just drywall where stone should have been. He tapped it once. It echoed, tapped again. Then found the latch. The wall clicked, opened inward, and revealed something no parent should ever find under a school. Jason didn't like schools, not because of anything dramatic. Just the smell, that blend of bleach, pencil shavings, and microwaved lunches. It reminded him of days when he sat at the back of the class, hoping the teacher wouldn't notice he hadn't read the chapter. But when Nora handed him the flyer and said, "Dad, they need volunteers," he didn't think twice. She'd never asked before. So he showed up that Friday with a thermos of gas station coffee and a faded hoodie that made him look more like a janitor than a parent. Which, as it turned out, helped. The PTA chair was late. The custodial staff was overworked. By the time Jason found the folding chairs, someone handed him a ring of keys and said, "Can you check the utility closet by the boiler? We think it's stuck." He nodded. The hallway was darker than the others. Older. The tile changed, cracked linoleum turned into smooth concrete. No kids' drawings on the walls, just dust and silence. He passed the boiler, found the closet door, and tried a few keys. None worked. Then he heard it. Not a loud sound. A knock. But not on the door. Below him, Jason paused, looked down. The floor vent near his boot let out a tiny hiss. Not steam, something slower. And through the slats he swore he saw a light blink. Once. Then off. He crouched, tapped the vent. It echoed. Deeper than it should have. Jason had been in buildings like this before. Workside gigs in HVAC, electrical, retrofit cabling. School basements didn't go that deep, unless they were hiding something. He stood, looked around, found a metal hatch partially hidden behind a loose piece of shelving. No signs, no authorized personnel, only just old screws and an old padlock, except the lock was already open. Jason took a breath, lifted the hatch. Stairs, stone, descending and cold, the kind of cold that didn't come from bad insulation but from separation. Whatever was down there hadn't been opened in years. He pulled out his phone. Battery at 18%, no service. He hesitated, then turned on the flashlight and stepped down. The air changed with every step. Thicker. Damp. The bottom opened into a narrow hallway, brick walls, wire conduit from the 60s, and a flickering bulb 10 feet down. Then the door. It looked new. Wrong. Clean aluminum in the middle of stone. Jason approached. No handle, but there was a latch. He touched it. Click. The door opened inward. No alarms, just silence. Inside, the air smelled different, not musty, not like rot, like ozone, static, stale. The walls were covered in whiteboard paint, some still marked with equations. In the corner, an old projector, unplugged. A desk, a stack of file boxes, a flickering power strip, and a chair, child-sized. Jason walked in slowly. The room was no bigger than a supply closet, but it was organized, purposeful. This wasn't storage, it had been used. He flipped open the top file, school documents, attendance logs, names, all redacted, except one. Experimental Oversight Phase 3 initiated fall semester. Jason turned the page, a map of the school, highlighted zones. His daughter's classroom was marked in red. Jason felt his chest tighten. He flipped to the next file, handwriting, student entries, dated journals. One read, he said we can't talk about it during recess, that the game only works in here. Another, the door won't open unless we're all sitting. And another, I don't like how he watches us. I told Miss Kane, but she said the man wasn't real. Jason stepped back. This wasn't a classroom, it was a test, and someone, maybe more than one person, had been watching kids. He pulled out his phone to take pictures. Dead, screen black. Battery gone. He shoved the files into his bag, turned. The door had closed. He reached for the latch. It didn't move. Panic started slow, not a scream, not a rush. Just that tightening behind his ribs. The feeling that something had shifted and now he didn't know which way was up. Then he heard the sound from the hallway, footsteps, slow, deliberate, not the rustle of janitor keys or the clack of PTA heels, boots. Jason backed away. Now he was locked in a steel-walled room holding stolen files, hearing someone approach, but the steps passed, faded. He waited 5 more minutes, then pushed the latch again. This time it opened. Jason didn't look back. He moved fast up the stairs, through the boiler hallway, out the back door of the building. Didn't stop until he was back at his truck. Only then did he breathe. He didn't know what he'd found, but he knew one thing: whatever was happening in that school, it had started again. And this time his daughter was inside. Jason didn't sleep that night, not because of what he saw, but because of what it implied. Someone built that room, funded it, wrote reports. Someone had been watching kids, testing something. And now his daughter went to that school. He kept the files under his mattress. Every page he flipped through only deepened the knot in his chest. Pages about engagement metrics, compliance shifts, unstructured observation patterns. It wasn't just data, it was behavior tracking on children. He wanted to scream or punch something. But Nora was asleep, breathing soft in the next room. So instead, he sat at the kitchen table and did what he always did when life made no sense. He made a list. 1. What did I see? A sealed room, student handwriting, surveillance gear, redacted names. 2. Who knows? The person behind the footsteps. Whoever redacted those files. Possibly school staff. 3. What's next? Protect Nora. Don't tip anyone off. Find out who he is. Jason didn't know what the game was, but the kids wrote about it like it was more than pretend. It only works in here. He watches. We don't talk during recess. He circled one phrase: we can't move unless the circle's full. The next morning, he walked Nora to school. Everything looked normal, too normal. He scanned the windows. Every smiling teacher face now looked like a mask. Every good morning from the front office made his skin crawl. At the classroom door, Nora kissed his cheek and ran inside. Jason turned to leave, then saw it. A door halfway down the hall, closed, metal, same shape, same size, same faint click as he passed it. Jason didn't slow his step, just kept walking but clocked the location. Back home, he made a copy of the documents, stored the originals off-site in a locked toolbox under a false bottom in his truck. He didn't know who to trust, so he trusted no one. Later that day, he went to the school under the excuse of picking up PTA supplies. The staff waved him in. He walked straight to the hall where he saw the second door. It was locked. No knob, no keypad, just flush steel. He knocked once, no sound, then leaned in and whispered, "I know." Still nothing. As he turned to leave, he noticed something at the base of the wall, a sticker. Old, faded. The logo was smudged, but the words were clear. Arda Labs. Building brighter systems. Jason had never heard of it. Back at home, he started digging. No clear website, no recent filings. But he found an old academic grant proposal archived online. Behavioral variance in minor cohorts, sponsored by Arda Systems, Inc. It was dated 1997. 2 of the advisors listed were marked as deceased. One had a revoked license. The last one had a LinkedIn page. Jason clicked. Dr. Elliot Reese, adjunct researcher, cognitive architect, independent consultant. Location: same city. He stared at the profile photo. Glasses, crooked tie, thin, nervous smile. Jason sent a message, "You worked with Arda Labs. I need to talk to you. It's about what's under the school." 10 minutes passed. No reply. Jason almost closed his laptop when a chat bubble popped up. "Not safe to talk online. Public park. 8 p.m. Come alone." Jason didn't hesitate. He left Nora with a trusted neighbor, said he had a night shift gig and headed for the park early. He parked across the street, waited, watched. At 8:12, someone sat on a bench near the fountain. Dr. Reese. Jason approached slowly. The man didn't turn, just said, "They shut the program down 20 years ago." Jason sat beside him. "No, they didn't." Dr. Reese finally looked at him. "You found the room," Jason nodded, "and the files." Reese swallowed hard. "I told them it was unethical. The study was supposed to be virtual, abstract modeling, but someone changed it, said kids learned faster under constraint." Jason's jaw tightened. "Constraint?" Reese nodded. "Social limitation, fear, ritualized behavior. They created a classroom with hidden rules, then watched how long it took the kids to obey without questioning." Jason stared at him, like a game. Reese nodded. "Exactly. If the child broke the rule, left the circle early, spoke the code phrase, stood before the bell, the game would reset. The other students would shun them until they conformed." Jason felt sick. "They turned kids against each other." "No one was harmed physically," Reese said quickly. "But the psychological effects, don't say minimal," Jason snapped. Reese shook his head. "I left the project before phase 3. That was the last one, the one they buried. They said it was all deleted, the rooms deconstructed, hardware pulled." Jason said nothing. "Then, they didn't pull all of it." Reese looked down. "Then it's starting again." Jason stood. "What do I do?" Reese didn't answer at first, then reached into his coat and handed Jason a folded paper. Not everyone deleted their notes. Jason took it. One word was scribbled across the top. Gateway. Jason didn't open the paper until he was back in the truck. Locked doors. Dome light off. The word gateway scrawled across the top was underlined twice, hard enough to press through. Beneath it, a hand-drawn diagram. It showed the school's blueprint, but not the version he saw on the public website. This one had layers, tunnels, a sublevel labeled Observation Bay 3. Next to that, Gateway Chamber, inactive since '99. Jason studied it until the lines blurred. There was a path from the old boiler room. Another from the east wing, right under Nora's classroom. They hadn't just built the system underneath the school. They'd built around it. His phone buzzed. Text from Nora. Chess club got canceled. "Can you pick me up?" He blinked, checked the time, 5:14 p.m. He was across town. Jason turned the engine, made it in 19 minutes. Nora waited under the awning with her backpack, earbuds in, hoodie up. She hopped in without a word. "You okay?" Jason asked. She shrugged. "Everyone's weird today." "Weird how?" "Like weird, quiet." Some of the kids said we couldn't sit in the usual circle for reading time. They said it was the wrong day, like that means anything. Jason's stomach dropped. He tried to keep his tone flat. "Did a teacher say that?" "No, it was just them, like they all knew something I didn't. And when I asked, they just stared." Jason swallowed hard. "Did anything else happen?" She looked out the window. "I don't want to go back tomorrow." Jason gripped the wheel tighter. "Okay." That night, after she fell asleep, he pulled out the diagram again. He studied the path from her wing to the sublevel, then went back, this time with gloves, a flashlight, a low-light camera. The school was empty. The back door, like before, was unlocked. He followed the blueprint through the boiler hallway, down the hatch, past the first hidden room, until he found the sealed corridor labeled Gateway. This time the air was colder. The door wasn't locked. It opened silently. Inside, darkness. Jason stepped in. The flashlight beam hit stone walls, old sensors, wires cut and coiled, and then there it was, a circle drawn on the floor, white chalk. 8 seats, one empty. He stood at the edge of the circle, breath fogging the air. He wasn't religious, but there was something wrong with the space. Not evil, just intentional. like every inch had been arranged for maximum discomfort. He took out the camera, snapped a photo. The flash bounced off a mirrored surface in the far wall. He approached. It was a window, two-way glass, behind it, darkness, except movement. A chair. Occupied, Jason's heart pounded. He raised the camera again. The figure didn't move. Then the screen flickered to life. Old monitor embedded in the wall. A voice came through, not mechanical. Human. Male, calm. You're not part of the sequence. Jason froze. Then, who are you? The voice didn't answer, just, you're ahead of schedule. The screen went black. Jason backed up. Every instinct said, leave. He turned, the hallway lights flicked off, total dark. Then a click. Low, slow, deliberate, footsteps behind the glass. Jason ran out the hallway. Up the steps, through the janitor hall, into the parking lot. Didn't stop until he hit the truck. He drove 6 blocks before pulling over. His hands were shaking. The footage on his camera was still there. The voice wasn't recorded, only static. The next morning, Jason kept Nora home. She asked why. He said, mental health day. She nodded like she already understood. Over cereal, she said, something's wrong at that school, isn't there? Jason didn't lie. Yeah. Are we in danger? Jason hesitated then. Not yet, but I think someone else might be. She looked at him, then said something strange. I had a dream last night about a room with no windows and 7 kids sitting in a circle. Jason's blood ran cold. He kept his face still. Were you in it? She shook her head. I was watching. Later that day, Jason drove to the school again, this time in broad daylight. He waited until recess. Walked in through the front. He found the principal in the office, sipping tea. Jason, she said, too brightly. Everything okay? I have questions, he said. About what? The lower levels, the sub-basement. Her smile didn't move, but her eyes did. I'm not sure what you mean. Jason stepped closer. There's a room under the east wing, built decades ago, not part of the official plans. She blinked once. Those facilities are sealed, unused. Nothing dangerous. You sure about that? A long pause. Then she said, Mr. Shaw, sometimes parents see things they don't understand, old architecture, misinformation online. If something's truly troubling you, we have counselors who can help ease the stress. Jason stared. She was reading off a script. She stood. This meeting's over. Jason didn't move, then said, tell whoever you work for they built it wrong. The principal's face twitched. Jason left. That night, another message appeared from an encrypted number. They know you entered Gateway. Stop now, or we reset the game. Jason stared at the words, then opened the camera footage again, and noticed something he hadn't before. In the far corner of the frame, a child's shoe, alone, unmoving. Jason didn't tell anyone about the shoe, didn't show the footage to the cops. Didn't call a reporter. He knew better. Whatever this thing was, this game, this chamber, this test, it had survived decades underground without noise. That didn't happen by accident. You don't build a secret room under a school unless you own everything above it. He sat at the kitchen table long after Nora had gone to bed, the photo on his screen like a pin in his chest. One small shoe, scuffed, left behind, or maybe placed. The message still glowed on his phone. Stop now, or we reset the game. Jason didn't know what that meant, but it sounded like a threat, or worse, a restart. He opened the diagram Reese had given him, traced the tunnel paths again. Every classroom above the sublevel had changed at some point except one, room 2C, Nora's. The next morning, Jason made a choice. He dropped her off with his sister across town, no explanation. Just, keep her busy, don't bring her back until I say. Then he parked in the staff lot and walked straight into the school. He wasn't subtle this time. No volunteer badge, no cover story. Just a backpack with his camera, a crowbar, and the old file from the gateway chamber. The halls were quiet. No one stopped him. Too quiet. He made it to the boiler hallway again. Opened the hatch, went down fast, back through the first chamber. The second, the glass hallway. When he reached the observation room this time, the circle was already drawn. 8 chairs, and every one of them filled, 7 kids, sitting still. staring forward, not blinking. Jason froze. One seat remained empty. The door clicked shut behind him. A monitor lit up. Same voice as before. "You were warned." Jason stepped forward. "What is this?" "This is compliance. I saw the reports. You're forcing kids into rituals, psychological shaping." The voice stayed calm. "They're not forced. They choose. Children adapt faster than adults. They accept structure. They find rules comforting. They're being manipulated. They're being prepared." Jason's hands curled into fists. "For what?" The screen flickered. A new image appeared, the school from above. Camera angles Jason hadn't seen. And something else, diagrams, circles. Signal paths. The building wasn't a school, it was a machine. "You've broken the loop," the voice said, "and I'll keep breaking it." Jason stepped into the circle. The kids turned to him all at once. No emotion, no recognition. Then one spoke. "You're not supposed to be here." Jason swallowed. "Neither are you." He opened the backpack, pulled out the files, held them up. "You're being watched, trained. You don't have to play their game." A girl in the second chair blinked once, then said, "If we leave the circle, the door locks." Jason turned. The door behind him was already sealed. He looked at the camera above the mirror. "I want to speak to whoever's running this." "You already are," said the voice. The lights flickered. Then a new voice came through, familiar. "You shouldn't have come back, Jason." Jason's stomach dropped. It wasn't the school, it wasn't Arda Labs, it was Reese. "You said you left," Jason growled. "I did. Then they brought me back. You made too much noise. You used my daughter. We observed patterns, nothing more. You manipulated children." Reese cut him off. "No, Jason. We watch them adjust to stress, to invisible rules. Just like the world trains adults, only faster." Jason stepped toward the mirrored glass. "I'm going to end this." Reese's voice was flat. "You can't." Jason raised the crowbar, swung, glass cracked. The kids didn't move. Another swing. Then a shatter. Jason pulled back the sheet of glass and stepped through. The room behind it was empty, just a speaker, a computer, and a photo on the wall, him and Nora, taped to a file labeled Subject R9 Disruptor Line. Jason stared at it. "You were never random," Reese said, voice still crackling from the speaker. "We let you in. You proved our model." Jason shook. "I'm not part of your test." "No," Reese said. "You're the catalyst." Jason grabbed the speaker and ripped it off the wall. The room behind the glass flickered, power failure. Then the door clicked, unlocked. The kids stood, perfectly timed. One by one, they filed out. Jason watched in silence, then followed. The hallway lights were off. Emergency lights only. He climbed back up the stairs. Into a hallway now filled with staff. None of them looked surprised, just tired. Celeste was there from the ops board. Angela too. Jason didn't say anything. Angela walked past him, paused, then whispered, "You weren't supposed to finish the game." Jason stared. Then she added, "But maybe that's the point." Later that night, Nora was already asleep when he got home. Jason walked past her room, sat in the kitchen, pulled out the files. Every word had changed, photos replaced, names blurred, dates gone. He turned to the last page, blank. Then slowly, a single line appeared. "Round 2 begins fall semester." Jason stared, then reached for the pen. Under it, he wrote, "Not if I start first."